Welcome back to NatFun, the live recorded adventure game where the dice and a few friends tell the story. In this special episode, you're going to get just one of those friends, me, Erin. I won't tell anyone else that I'm your favorite. Today, I am playing Peacemaker, a solo RPG game from Lost Guide Games, based on the Breathless game system, a product of Fari RPGs, developed and authored by René Pierre Delachaux-Jelenas, and licensed for Lost Guide Games and our use under the Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 license. In Peacemaker, you play as the stuffed animal tasked with protecting your ward from fears in their dreams, leveraging our skills to help our ward survive the night. There are 6 skills. Might, for anything strength-based, magic for anything long distance or shooting, sneaking for, sneaky things, fortitude to discover the world around you, console for empathy and softness, and tinker to fix, build, or invent things. Each night, we will decide what type of dream our ward faces, the fear, and how it manifests. For this adventure, I will be playing for 5 nights. If victory is accomplished 3 or more times, our ward will be able to overcome the horrors of their dreamscape, and our Peacemaker can go on to protect another ward. If we fail, twice or more, then the Peacemaker loses the magic that makes them able to battle Dream Eaters, and our ward suffers from bad dreams until another Peacemaker can take up the mantle. So with that, let's set the scene. Now, before we go any further, a quick content warning. The following dream sequences may reference things like drowning, an air of terror, and dinosaurs. So if any of those things are no-goes for you, either grab a stuffed animal and a cup of tea, come back and listen when you're ready, or come back next week for some more NatFun. And with that out of the way, let's get to dreaming. Jessica Doris sits perched on the edge of a dark blue couch, a kind woman in front of her with gentle eyes. "It's okay to get comfortable, Jessica," the woman says. "It's fine," Jessica replies, knowing as she scoots back the sensation of sinking into the material will remind her of the water, the riptide, the water covering her body and eventually her face. Truly, this is comfortable. The woman taps her finger to her chin. "If you say so." Behind her, the diploma from Jay Park College stands proud. Missy Jacobson, it reads, Master's in Social Work. Missy pauses, hoping that Jessica will fill the silence, but Jessica doesn't bite. "So what brings you in today?" she says, finally caving. Jessica smirks like she's won a battle. "The usual," she says, starts playing with a loose string on her denim jeans. "The dreams are back." Missy nods. "I thought so." "It's been 10 years, Jessica. Nothing is going to hurt you." Jessica nods back. "I know that, in theory, but the dreams are so real. I see that sail circling the boat. I feel the water surrounding me when it tipped us over. I hear the screaming of my friends. The hopelessness, it's all just too real." "I hear what you're saying," Missy replies. "You experienced a great trauma, being separated from your friends, the Spinosaurus. We all went through something terrible to an extent, but the situation has been contained." Jessica takes a deep breath. Coming here was a mistake. Missy has heard it all before, and it's clear the compassion has burnt out. Jessica hasn't improved with talk therapy, hypnosis, medication. She goes to stand, and Missy holds out her hand. "Listen, Jessica, the fear is in your mind, your dreams. I have a crazy idea, but humor me." Missy stands and goes to her bookshelf, where stuffed animals for her pediatric clients sit. She runs a finger in front of them as if picking one from the lineup. "Ah, Farah. There you are." Missy takes down a stuffed fox and brings it over to where she was sitting, propping up the orange stuffy on her lap. "This is Farah. It makes the animal wave a paw. Jessica resists the urge to roll her eyes. She is one of my bravest peacemakers. At this, Jessica can't hold back the laugh. Peacemaker? She says. Yes. Now, typically, I reserve these guys for children, but in your case, I don't think it would hurt to try. Every night before you go to sleep, I want you to clutch Farah to your chest. Tell her your hopes. Tell her your fears. Hell, tell her you think Missy Jacobson is crazy for suggesting this. But for 5 nights, I want you to try. And if it works for a 12-year-old with a fear of pterodactyls scooping them up, well, maybe it'll work for you too. Jessica smirks again. Right, sure. Why not? She says, holding her hand out for the toy, having no intention of following through on this exercise. I'll give it a go. Jessica brushes her teeth, staring down at the stuffed orange fox, the golden eyes staring back at her. This is crazy, she mutters before swishing and spitting. After taking Farah home, she started thinking, truly, why not? She used to sleep with a stuffed animal when she was younger. Poor Pinky Pig, left behind in her dorm when she left for that dreadful lake trip, never to be seen again as Jay Park College experienced its own dinosaur mishap. Well, Farah, let's give this a go. Jessica climbs into bed and holds the toy to her chest. I just want to survive. All right, so let's roll to see what kind of dream Jessica will have. That's 1d12 and a 9, a nightmare. So only 3 risky events. And what is Jessica going to face this time? 1d6, and that's a 5 for Jessica's secondary fear, drowning. How does it manifest? We're going to roll a d6, another 5. Jessica is all alone. The first thing Farah notices is the sound of water, lapping against something wooden. Oh, dear, she says, and paws run over herself, checking that, yep, she's back. A new dream, a new ward, a new terror. Looking down, she sees the wooden sword belted to her left side, a shield of buttons strapped to her back. Her hind paws are on wooden planks. No, a dock. She looks out to see the sun low in the sky and then hears the panic splashing. Racing to the edge, she sees a frantic woman and a name comes to her, Jessica. Older than her last ward, struggling to stay afloat. Hold on, she calls. Jessica's blonde head bobs up and she lets out a quick scream before sinking back into the water. Farah looks around to see if there's anything to help. A fortitude check. So I'll roll a d6 to see if Farah can discover something that would help. That's a 4, success, but at a cost. And the fortitude will drop down to 1d4. There's a rope wrapped around one of the pillars, something someone might tie a boat to. Grab this, she calls out, tossing the rope to Jessica. So a pass, but at a cost. I'll need to add a complication. I have 3 types of complications: the dreamscape, dream self, and the support. So I'm going to roll 1d6 to see which category we land in. We got a 1, so I'm going to see how the dreamscape changes. Even though we passed it's just barely, there are 6 dreamscape complications, so 1 more d6, and a 4. The manifestation of the dream grows more chaotic. Thunder cracks in the sky before it darkens dramatically. Wind suddenly gusts and the lake starts to thrash. Farah pulls on the rope and is able to get Jessica close to the edge of the dock. I'm here, she says, trying to bring her ward to safety. We are gonna try a might check to see if I can pull Jessica out of the water. That's my highest skill, so we're rolling 1d10 and a d4 since my special item is my sword. Ooh, yes! An 8 plus 4. Easy success. Might's gonna drop to d8, but hey, another victory. Whew. Farah pulls with all her might and is able to help Jessica from the water. The darkness puddling under her fingers like tendrils follow the woman onto the wooden planks. Ah, yes, the Dream Eater.
Back with you.
Farah calls out, brandishing her sword in front of her. The tendrils slip back to the surface, and Farah takes a breath to examine her ward closely. Not a child. Definitely not. Someone late 20s, maybe? Holy shit! Jessica says. You're really here. She is shivering and shaking. I'm so scared. I thought I was going to die. She reaches up to her throat as if she's still drowning. Farah nods.
The night isn't over yet. Close your eyes and take my paw.
I'm going to do a console check to see if we can calm Jessica down as our third Dream Eater event.
Breathe, Jessica. Breathe.
Console is a D8, and I get a 4, so a success at a cost. A moment passes as Jessica's blue eyes bug out, struggling to breathe. I'm going to roll a complication for Farah now, so 1d6. 3, so that's Dream Self, which has 10 complications. So 1d10 and 5. Your ward has had a peacemaker before. Are you sure you can save them? As Jessica struggles, Farah stares at her new ward. The sensations of a previous peacekeeper being here before surround her. The image of the pink pig surfaces, and suddenly she sees the trauma being left behind while Jessica trotted out for an early summer adventure during a break at college. A flash and pain shoots through Farah's mind. If Pinky couldn't protect Jessica, what hope does she stand? This isn't a child. This is complicated. But as the thoughts come, Jessica's breathing slowly steadies. The clouds part above and sunlight once again trickles through, warming both her fur and Jessica's skin. Peace.
That's it. In and out. You've got this,
she says both to herself and to Jessica. Sunlight streams through the window. Early dawn, but bright enough to stir the woman from her sleep. In her arms clutched tight is an orange fox, no longer wielding a sword. Thank you, Jessica whispers before climbing from the warmth of blankets and pillows, tucking the soft creature into bed. Now, it's your turn to get some rest. On our first night, we faced Jessica's fear of drowning, but with 3 successes, Farah has earned a warrior's rest and all of our stats reset. Darkness falls, and Jessica returns home, seemingly at peace. But as her nighttime routine continues, she keeps glancing at the stuffed toy. Will there be more dreams tonight? As she crawls into bed, she holds the fox to her chest and whispers her new mantra. I just want to survive. On the second night, Jessica will face 1d12, a 3, or a night terror with 5 risky events. Tonight, the subject of the dream is a 1, so her primary fear, the Spinosaurus. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited that we get to have 5 events with this one. Sorry in advance, Jessica. But let's see, how does the primary fear manifest? So d6, 4, so it's gonna be in an unfamiliar place. Farah slowly opens her eyes, paws now standing on top of what appears to be a large bookshelf.
Phew. Back in Missy's office. Oh no,
she says as she notices her sword strapped again to her belt. She wraps a paw around it and looks around, anxious to see if Jessica has appeared yet, or if she's still in the transition space between waking and dreams. As her eyes adjust to the dim light, Farah sees the base of the bookshelf is submerged in dark water, seemingly endless. The sounds of crying draws her eye back from the edge. Jessica appears behind her, roughly the same size as the book she's crouched before. When a roar shakes the shelf, and suddenly the ground tilts and sways as below a giant Spinosaurus rams into the lower levels, its giant sail like a fin, circling to ram again. Farah throws out her paws and grabs onto the fringe of a bookmark, trying to stay on. So I'm going to roll 1d10 for a might check. We got a 9, yes. So we don't need a bonus from the sword for the might. 1d4, but it's a 2. So might drops to 1d8, and we're able to stay on the shelf, passing our first risky event.
Jessica!
Farah calls out and reaches a paw out towards the crying woman, able to grab her arm before she tumbles over the side. As the shaking stops, the sail lines up for another ram. Farah pulls Jessica towards her chest as Jessica's arms wrap around her neck.
Don't worry, I'm here. I won't let it get you.
I'm going to do a console check. So 1d8, and we get a 5. So we're able to calm Jessica down, and console will drop to 1d6. Between sobs, Jessica nods and starts to regain her composure. I wasn't sure you would be here again.
My magic is good for more than one night.
Farah winks.
Quick, we have to figure out how to get out of here.
Looking for a place to go. So that's going to be a fortitude roll, 1d6, and... oh, crap. 1. Fortitude is going to drop to 1d4, and we failed. So on the complication table, we go. 1d6 and a 6, so it's our support. 1d4, and that's a 4, so our support shifts, and it's not the same thing that we came into the dream with. Clutching the bookmark to keep from swinging over the edge as the Spinosaurus rams again, Farah feels the magic shifting around her and sees the title of the book, Knitting Socks for Beginners. The weight of her sword and her belt fades, and a quick glance at her hind paws, she sees fluffy pink socks appear. These are going to add 1d4 to any sneak checks, but we will lose our might advantage because we failed. Farah's paws lose its grip on the bookmark. Both she and Jessica tumble over the edge into the dark water. A failed risky event. Jessica screams as they surface, desperately trying to swim towards a floating book. Farah kicks her legs to catch up.
Quickly, up the side.
And tries to lift Jessica into the makeshift raft. Gonna do another might check, so 1d4 this time. 5, thank God. Okay, we're gonna pass this event. The sail of the Spinosaurus gets closer and closer, its head popping out of the water to bite at them before Farah pulls herself out of the water as well, the jaws snapping closed, just missing her new pink socks.
Okay, books, dinosaurs, what's going on?
Farah demands and then softens.
How can I help here?
Jessica starts crying again and sits just above the author line on the floating book. 10 years ago, dinosaurs appeared all across the Pacific Northwest. I was on a lake trip with friends when that thing, she points to the sail swimming away from them, showed up. It rammed the boat I was in, and I fell into the water. I was able to make it to shore, but I didn't know what happened to my friends. Ever since then, I've been terrified of it, and every night I see it, or I drown, never making it to the shore. Farah nods.
Right. And the books?
I just love to read. Jessica sniffles. The sail that had been swimming away turns and prepares for another ram.
Okay, Jessica, we need to do something here. Look in the water and see if there's anything floating we can use.
So I'm thinking Jessica and Farah are going to look for either something that could be used as a paddle or a weapon. So I'm going to do a fortitude check at that 1d4. So if it's a 3, we pass, find the paddle, add a complication. If it's a 4, we pass, find a weapon, and add a complication. And if it's a 1 or a 2, no luck, and a complication. So, come on. 3. Okay. Jessica scans the water and finds a long sliver of bookshelf with a chunk at the end. Something like this? She calls back to Farah, holding the broken wood towards the fox.
Precisely.
Farah says, taking it, dumping it into the water to start paddling toward the base of another shelf. And our complication, 1d6, a 2 for the dreamscape, and another 2. The ground underneath our feet becomes unstable. As Farah paddles, the waterlogged book starts to sink and submerge, no longer buoyant for the 2 figures riding atop it. This feels like a risky event, so I'm going to see if we can tinker our way out of it. I have a 1d4 for Tinker and a 4. So we pass. Farah reaches towards the cover as the book starts to tilt and roll. She sees a floating scrunchie in the water and grabs it, securing one edge around the corner, racing to the other side to complete the loop. The addition of the scrunchie is able to keep the raft afloat.
There, all better,
she says. But we add yet another complication. A 2 for the dreamscape and a 5. The dreamscape shifts and the manifestation hides itself. No sooner than the book starts to retain its float does the dream start to dissolve. Jessica and Farah see the bookshelves shrink and fade away into the darkness, and in their place a life-size desk appears, computers on them, desk chairs sitting neatly in front.
What's this?
Farah cries out. An office building, Jessica says, scanning the room. Despite her wet clothes and Farah's wet fur, there doesn't seem to be a body of water nearby. Maybe we'll be safe here? Farah nods. The dinosaur doesn't seem to be anywhere near them. On the desk nearby, a cup of water starts to shake, rings forming as large footfalls sound outside the building. A dark shadow blocking out the dim light as the two small arms and large feet stalk towards the building. Let's put these socks to use and see if we can hide from the Spinosaurus as our last risky event. So we're going to do 1d4 plus 1d4, and we get a 2 and a 3. So a total of 5. Farah pulls Jessica's arm down and crouches behind a desk, her paw holding one toe to her lips, urging her ward to stay quiet. Slowly they slink towards the large conference room and are able to remain undetected. Farah holds Jessica close to her chest as the light outside ebbs away, and slowly the dreamscape fades as well. Her second night, we faced Jessica's fear of the mighty Spinosaurus. With 4 successes and 1 failure, because we failed one, I'm going to see if Farah earns a rest by rolling 1d10. A 4 or lower, she'll have to go to work with Jessica, and a 5 or higher, she earns her warrior's rest. And we get a 7. Farah has earned a warrior's rest, and all of our stats will reset. Jessica wakes, clutching tight to Farah. That dream was one of the weirder ones that she's had in a while, but the fox did its job and saved Jessica from the beast. Maybe Missy was right after all. The day passes by, and before you can blink, it's nightfall again. As Jessica waves goodbye to her coworkers to head into the weekend, she worries about the dream she may have tonight. Will she drown? Be eaten? Survive? On night 3, Jessica will have 1d12. A 12. Peace. When Jessica wakes, Farah is by her side. They are walking a hike through lush forests of the Pacific Northwest. Large redwoods reaching towards the sky as the pair spend a night in bliss. As Jessica wakes Saturday morning, she feels rested for the first time in ages. She pats Harris' head in thanks before ushering through her chores, errands, and weekend tasks. Settling in that night with a book propped on her knee, the covers of her blanket pulled to her chin and Farah tucked under one arm. As the hour grows late, she closes the book and shuts off the lamp, ready for another uneventful dream. Alright, night 4. We get 1d12. Okay, that's a 7, or a nightmare. So 3 risky events, and the source of Jessica's fear is 1d6, a 1. So the Spinosaurus again. And it's going to manifest as 6. Unknown, so we got to explore to find out. Farah and Jessica find themselves on the same trail as the night before, as if they were to continue their hike. Maybe this time they'll reach the summit. Farah places her hand on her sword and feels confident that maybe the Dream Eater has been defeated.
Are you feeling better?
She asks Jessica, who is slightly ahead of her, leading them up the narrow path on the trail. A bit, thank you, Jessica replies, much more confident than in dreams past. It's amazing what one good dream can accomplish. Farah beams. She's done good this time around. Only 2 bad dreams, and she's kept the Dream Eater at bay both times? The pair continue their climb as the wind kicks up. And then the sky darkens. Farah? Is this a good dream? Jessica calls out, the distance between them seeming to grow. Farah growls low in her throat and starts to survey the space. There doesn't appear to be anything significantly ominous. No thudding footsteps, no bodies of water, and yet the fur on her neck rises.
Jessica, watch her.
But before she can finish the thought, Jessica's feet slide out from her figure dropping over the edge of the trail. Farah tries to run to her, but the motion feels slow and foreign. But a loud bellow erupts from where Jessica dropped off. As Farah peers over, she sees Jessica holding tight to a small tree growing out of the rock face. And below her, a leaping, snapping mouth is the large Spinosaurus. "Help me!" Jessica screams, scrambling on the rocks. Farah looks around her for something and spots a rock. Maybe it's time to actually fight back, she thinks, and grabs it.
Hey, ugly!
She calls and tries to get the dino's attention. She checks the rock. This is going to be a magic roll for long-range attacks, so 1d4. Oh no, we got a 1. Failure on this first risky event. The rock leaves Farah's paw, and while it makes contact with the beast, all it does is seem to agitate it. So our complication, got a 1 for the dreamscape, and a 6. Dreamscape, ground breaks apart. Rocks start to lift as the ground starts to crumble around Farah's paws, chunks floating into the sky past her head. Jessica starts to lift as well, but so too does the dinosaur, its snapping jaw getting closer and closer to Farah's ward.
Not today, pal.
Farah says, drawing her sword from her belt and the shield from her back. She leaps into the air, and with the weird gravity is able to position herself between the beast and Jessica. A second event. We're going to try and solve this problem with a fight. 1d10 for might, plus 1d4 since we have our sword back, and together, a 7's gonna get us there. Farah brings her sword down and flies at the Spinosaurus, thrusting the sword through the roof of its gaping maw. A shriek from the creature as Farah pulls the sword back. Suddenly, the gravity shifts again and the dino plummets to the ground. Jessica reaches out to grab Farah's belt before the fox can fall as well. So let's see if Jessica can grab her with another might check, which is now 1d8. Oop, 1. A bad fail on that. Alright, let's see if the bonus 1d4 can push us higher. And that's a 1, so total of 2. Scrambling for purchase on the edge of the narrow trail, Jessica strains to grab Farah, and in doing so, the pair slip, heading straight for the mouth of the Spinosaurus. Jessica starts awake. Heart pounding, she grips Farah, stuffed and motionless, once again to her chest. She pants, tears streaming down her face. A quick glance at the clock tells her it's just before 5 a.m., Sunday morning. Slowly, she calms her breathing and loosens her grip on the toy. It's just a dream, she says to herself unconvincingly before holding the fox again, head on the pillow, but unable to fall back asleep. Our fourth night and third dream left us with 2 failures and 1 success. I'm marking it on the defeat tracker. If we suffer defeat in 5 nights, we fail as peacemakers, and Jessica is plagued with bad dreams forevermore. Plus Farah will lose her magic. We have 2 victories, 1 night apiece, and 1 defeat, so the next dream is crucial. First, we're going to see if Farah can enjoy a warrior's rest and reset her skills. 1d10, and that's a 4. We didn't pass, so Farah gets to go with Jessica throughout her day. All of her skills will remain the same for the final dream. To recap, that's 1d6 for might, 1d6 for fortitude, 1d8 for console, and all other skills stay at 1d4. We also do not get to reset the might bonus for the sword, so that 1d4 bonus is gone. We haven't used our tougher than fluff ability yet, so we still have that in the chamber. Alright, final dream. Let's roll to see what we have. 1d12, that's a 9, so a nightmare, only 3 risky events. And what is Jessica gonna face this time? 1d6, and that's a 5 for Jessica's secondary fear, drowning. And how does it manifest? 1d6, another 5. Jessica's all alone. This seems very familiar to our first dream. After a fretful day full of yawns and coffee, Jessica once again settles in for the night. Farah, I'm not sure I can take another bad dream, she says to herself in the toy, tucking it close to her chest as she has for most of the day, cradling it every time the feelings of fear would start to take hold of her mind. But as the light of day fades and the stars shine bright, Jessica slips once more into the land of unconsciousness and uncertainty. Sloshing water is the first thing she hears as Jessica starts to take in her surroundings. Eyes adjusting to the dim light, she finds that the walls are close and narrow. She can stretch out both arms and graze the walls on either side. A thud behind her startles, and she turns to see nothing that gives a sense of peace. No Farah, but also no Spinosaurus. She breathes out, uneasy. Farah, where are you? Farah, are you here?
Jessica!
Farah calls out, a dim light above her, water gurgling in the distance. But there is no familiar blonde hair or blue eyes to greet her. Farah pats along her body, finds the sword, and grips the handle tight, taking a tentative step forward in the narrow space. Slowly she moves through the room, making her way to the wall, and as she approaches, she sees first her reflection, but then blurred and fuzzy behind it, blonde curls and a pale hand reaching out to test the width of the chamber Jessica finds herself in. Jessica and Farah are separated, so for our first complication, let's roll a d6 and see what kind of change we have entered the dream. And we get a 3, so dream self, and d10 for an 8. A loud ringing suddenly fills the chamber as both Jessica and Farah bring their respective hands and paws to their ears. The shrill noise is enough to startle them both into motion, but it's the sudden rising water that brings the panic. To Farah's right, she sees a staircase and moves towards it, banging on the glass to get Jessica's attention, but the woman is still clutching the sides of her head.
Jessica, we have to move!
As the ringing dims, Jessica slowly opens her eyes. She can't make out anything in front of her as the noise has shifted her vision. She takes a step forward, away from the sound of thumping, and feels the water at her feet suddenly start to rise. Another step, and the frantic pounding comes from the direction she started to move. She backs away slightly, feeling surrounded. I'm going to roll a fortitude check to see if Farah's noise directions are helpful or harmful for Jessica. Fortitude is 1d6, and we get a 3, so a success, but at a cost. And fortitude drops to 1d4. We're going to add a complication, 6, 1, dreamscape, and a 4. Dreamscape is going to grow more chaotic.
She can't hear me.
Farah panics as her paws smash against glass, and she sees Jessica take a step away from the safety of the stairs and away from the thudding Farah is causing.
Oh no.
Farah says, running along the wall to cut her off, and bangs her paw frantically again. Jessica once again steps away from the noise, confusion and terror on her face that intensifies with a glance downward as the water is lazily lapping at her ankles. Suddenly, Jessica starts to run, but at least it's in the right direction, and the water switched from lazy to rabid with every step forward, every splash sending terror like lightning bolts into Jessica's eyes. Farah can't hear the screaming, but she can see it in the motion of the woman's mouth as they run in tandem towards the stairs. I want to consult the Dreamweaver here to see if Jessica has stairs on her side of the dream, and if she does, do they go up or down? So I'm going to roll 2d6 and we get a 7, which is a yes but. As the pair race towards what could be freedom, Farah navigates to the top, easily finding a door. But when she glances to her left to see if Jessica is alongside her still, she finds she is alone. Jessica makes out the stairs, but as she takes the first step, she sees the way ahead is blocked, the remains of a boat blocking her path. The nameplate reading out, Beatrice.
No, no, no!
Farah cries out and opens the door, lunging to the left to find an identical one. She pulls on the handle and tumbles into the darkness, landing in front of the remains of the watercraft.
Jessica! Farah? I'm here.
I can't get past the wreck. Help me, the water is rising.
We can work together. Try to move the pieces and let's make a path.
I'm gonna roll another might check. That's a 4, so another success, but at a cost. And we add another complication. It's a 2 for Dreamscape and a 1. So the Dreamscape shifting in a sickening way. The pair pull on the debris on either side, starting to make progress when the stairway starts to shrink and contract, waving in a nauseating way. I can't do this, Jessica calls out, the water cresting just above her shoulders as she pulls on the fabric of a destroyed boat's awning. For this final risky event, I want to do a console check to see if we can pass and calm Jessica down long enough for her to wake up. But if we fail, well, let's just see what happens. 1d8, and that's a 2. So it's a failure.
Jessica, I know you can do this. I know you can.
Farah calls out, pulling and pushing with all of her might to dislodge the splintered pieces of the boat. Farah, Then Jessica's voice is lost, the water rising higher, cutting off her last words.
No, it can't end like this.
Farah cries, shoving once more into the pile of broken wood and fiberglass. With a start, Jessica lurches out of bed. Farah still clutched to her chest. Air fills her lungs and she sighs, whispering to herself, I know I can. I know I can. So we've reached the end of our dream of disasters and terror, our final nightmare yielding 2 successes and 1 failure, but it's enough to beat the Dream Eater. Jessica is strong enough to go on and face it alone. I hope you enjoyed this solo RPG of Peacemaker. This game can be easily adapted for a group playthrough or, like what I did, a journal-style RPG. This was a really fun one to stretch some creative muscles and toy with some dark imagery. If you want to check out Peacemaker for yourself, you can find a copy online at lost-guide.itch.io. I want to take another moment to thank Lost Guide Games as well as Fari RPG for putting together an amazing system. And one last thank you to you, our listeners. NatFun wouldn't be here without you. So if you feel like you've gotten a smile or a laugh from any of our adventures, can you do me a favor? Please leave us a rating and review. Or give us a like and follow on our socials. We'd love to hear from you. And you can communicate directly with us on our Patreon. We're growing every day, and it's because of listeners like you. So please tune in next time, and until then, I hope you can find yourself a stuffy, a journal, or some friends so you can roll into your own NatFun. Goodbye.